Hello everybody and welcome to this new replay analysis. I see that you really liked the previous video, so I decided to do another one. And today I'm going to be playing as black at the bottom, so I can really give you the thought process and the decision making that was behind this game. And I'm playing against Hard Drive as white at the top, who's a Polish master player, about 700 elo on average in board game arena. Very good opponent. So without further ado, let's begin with the game. So I decided to go for the X-Black, which is this opener usually, but white decided otherwise and tried to counter with this move. It's pretty strong, so at this point I wasn't sure. I decided to just move until I reached this position. And I went for a defensive setup, which I like because in this situation, white is incapable of closing this side in one turn, and I can close in the next turn the bottom side, which leaves then two paths for white, which I think is a pretty good situation to be in as black. So white forces me to close the bottom side, which I'm fine with, and decides to push to the right. And at this point I decided to attack because I was thinking that I was the one with a single path to manage, while white has two paths, like I said earlier. So I just walk and let white spend walls. Now we ended up in this very interesting situation. Let's think about it for a second. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think at this point it was over for white anyways. Let me explain. So if I decide to move forward and white does this, which is the most obvious response, it's then impossible for white to close the left-hand side because I have a critical path here. So the only way for him to secure the victory is to try and go here and then place a wall behind. So I can counter this with this wall placement, and then white is forced to use his last wall here, because otherwise I would just make him go up and the game would be over. So white has to react like this, and at this point black wins the game. I don't see any other alternative for white. I was not so confident when I played the game, so I tried to defend, and we ended up in this situation which was more difficult for me, because with a single turn, white could end up in this critical area we talked about, and I would have to close here, which would lead to this situation with, again, an aggressive push from white that I would have to defend, and this is a possible endgame in this scenario. Still in black's favor, but much more difficult to manage. So I think Hard Drive simulated this scenario because this is how he reacted. Still, this scenario is a black victory, but this game was definitely interesting.